Maria's walking stick tapped an impatient rhythm past Vancouver's community centre when she caught wind of it, some wild tale about a feud settled not with shouting but sneakers. Two neighbors, fists clenched over a fence, decided to hash it out stride by stride. By mile 3, they were swapping pie recipes. 52, Maria had seen enough petty squabbles to last a lifetime, but this was genius. Next morning, she slapped a sign on her porch, "Neighbor Wars. Walk it off." Her new club's first rule. No drama unless Maria's walking stick tapped an impatient rhythm past another silent porch, its chip paint whispering of neglected conversations. 52 years of stiff smiles and half-waved hellos had calcified into something heavier than arthritis, a loneliness as thick as Vancouver's winter fog. That polished maple stick. A relic from her late father, who'd carved it during chemo, whispering, "Keep moving, Mija, or life glues you to couch." She nearly tripped over a rogue skateboard, karma for judging teens' lazy vibes last week. But momentum carried her forward, past Mrs. Kwan's prize hydrangeas, past Patel twins' chalk murals smudged by rain. Her idea was simple: invite Block to walk. Not a mediation, not a gripe fest. Just motion. Community center flyers went ignored until Maria added a wry postscript: boredom burns fewer calories. 6 neighbors showed up. By week 3, 20 shuffled behind her, their sneakers scuffing pavement in unison. A rhythm emerged, grievances aired between strides dissolved faster, as if sweat carried pettiness away. Young moms traded babysitting shifts, retired accountant taught skateboard kids budgeting via candy money. Her deepest fear, that kindness had expired like last year's coupons, melted with each step. That stick, once a crutch, now pointed toward sunlit sidewalks where her father's laughter seemed to echo in creak of its wood. Maria never preached unity. She just kept walking, and fam followed. Maria's walking stick tapped an impatient rhythm past yet another silent cul-de-sac, its polished wood catching morning light like a metronome counting down unresolved tensions. 52 years of city living hadn't prepared her for this, neighbors who'd rather glare through curtains than share a sidewalk. But that maple stick, carved by her grandfather, wasn't just for balance. It carried generations of stories of bridges built step by stubborn step. One misty Thursday, dodging puddles near a community center, her heel skidded on wet pavement. Arms flailed, stick clattered, until calloused hands caught her elbows. "Whoa there, speed racer," chuckled a silver-haired woman in neon sneakers, flanked by a mismatched crew clutching thermoses. Turned out, they were Vancouver's unofficial Stride and Solve Club, a decade-old secret society that settled feuds over laps around rose gardens. Their rule? No gossip till mile 2, when endorphins softened edges. Maria's first walk with them was a comedy of stumbles, literally. She tripped over a rogue tennis ball, nearly took out a mailbox, but fam just howled, tossing her a mocha for survival. By week 3, her stick became their baton, passed between warring neighbors during hikes. A retired teacher used it to point out invasive ivy choking a shared fence. Teens doodled peace treaties on its surface with erasable markers. Then came Mrs. Kowalski's great garbage bin standoff. 2 blocks feuded over pickup times, recycling bins tipped like dominoes of spite. Maria planted her stick between them dawn, its shadow dividing street. "Race you to hydrangeas," she challenged, and somehow, 12 sleep-deprived adults found themselves power-walking past sunrise, indignation melting into laughter over whose knees cracked loudest. By mile 3, they'd drafted a bin rotation schedule, in permanent marker, right on her stick. Winter brought slick sidewalks and colder hearts, but club's momentum thawed both. Maria learned to read tensions in how folks gripped her grandfather's wood, white-knuckled or loose, clinging or ready to pass it on. By spring, even postal worker joined, delivering apologies along with parcels. That walking stick. Now it leans by her door, notched with every settled spat, its dings and scribbles a map of a neighborhood that finally found its stride. Maria's walking stick tapped an impatient rhythm past yet another silent cul-de-sac. 52 years old and suddenly playing referee to folks who'd rather glare through curtains than hash things out over coffee. Vancouver's drizzle couldn't wash away stubbornness, but she'd seen stranger things than feuding neighbors' community center bingo nights. Her walk club, started as a flimsy excuse to get steps in, had become an accidental peacekeeping force. First, it was just Sheila and Raj circling block, griping about fence lines. Then came retired teacher who'd turned pruning into passive-aggressive warfare. Maria nudged them into stride, her stick a silent baton directing gossip into something like progress. Doubt crept in when Mrs. Kowalski refused to join, muttering about nosy Parkers. Maria's knees ached, her resolve wobbled, but that stick had survived 3 winters and 1 overenthusiastic golden retriever. She wasn't quitting now. One damp Tuesday, she planted herself outside Mrs. Kowalski's door, leaning hard on polished maple. "Walking's cheaper than therapy, fam," she called, half to herself. A curtain twitched. An hour later, steel-toed boots stomped into formation behind her. By summer, even guy who yelled squirrels joined parade. Maria's stick, once just a balance aid, now marked path between grudges and grace. Every step proved neighborhood wars could end not with shouting, but with sneakers on pavement and quiet hum of folks remembering how to listen. Maria's walking stick tapped an impatient rhythm past yet another silent standoff, this time over a rogue recycling bin left mid-sidewalk. Vancouver's drizzle couldn't wash away tension clinging to her street like old gum. Enough. She'd spent years watching neighbors side-eye each other over hedges, but today, that stick wasn't just for balance. It was a baton, and she was done waiting for someone else to lead. 52, Maria knew life's worth capturing, not just enduring. So she slapped a handwritten flyer on community center bulletin board, "Walk and talk it out, no drama, just sneakers." Skeptics scoffed. One guy in a Seahawks cap even muttered about hippie nonsense, until she thrust her walking stick toward a pothole he'd been griping about for months. "Show me while we walk," she challenged. By block 3, he was ranting, then laughing, as she nudged him toward solutions with sly humor. "Bet your knees miss complaining more than fixing," she teased. Word spread faster than maple syrup on hot pancakes. Soon, 20 neighbors trailed behind her, their steps sinking like a heartbeat. Maria's stick became a compass, pointing cracked pavements that became shared projects, overgrown gardens turned into pop-up potlucks. Even teens, usually glued to phones, joined in after she accidentally hip-checked a parked scooter. "Oops, these old reflexes." Then rallied them to paint a mural where graffiti once festered. Then came Twist. A local journalist, sipping coffee outside a cafe, snapped a shot of Maria mid-stride, stick raised like a conductor's wand, a rainbow of neighbors in her wake. Overnight, her goofy, gutsy mission went viral. City Hall slid into her DMs. Suddenly, skeptics who'd rolled their eyes were handing her Timbits Community Center, stammering, "Didn't think you'd actually, fix stuff." By month's end, her walking stick had its own fan club. But Maria? She just grinned, leaning on it as a new crew gathered dawn. Life wasn't just captured, it was striding forward, one stubborn neighbor at a time. Maria's walking stick tapped an impatient rhythm past another silent cul-de-sac, but this time, it wasn't just her feet moving, neighbors trailed behind, drawn by curiosity, then camaraderie. What began as solo strolls to clear her head became Vancouver's quirkiest peacekeeping force, Walk and Talk Club. 52 and fierce, she'd turned her odd habit, muttering to hydrants like old friends, into a superpower. Sidewalks weren't just pavement, they were neutral ground where grudges unraveled step by step. Community centers buzzed with whispers about that woman with carved maple stick, guiding block wars toward shared muffins instead of muttered curses. Even postal worker joined, swapping route gossip for conflict resolution tips. Maria's stick, once a humble aid, now pointed way forward, literally. By summer's end it sported colorful ribbons tied by grateful neighbors, each knot a truce sealed. No grumpy stereotypes here, just real people remembering how to listen, often mid-stride, as Maria's club proved movement melted barriers faster than any zoning meeting. Her secret? Keep walking till anger burns off, then hit M with kindness, and maybe a surprise detour past an ice cream truck. Fam, your street's next. Lace up, change starts where pavement meets purpose.